Okay. Hello, everybody. Let's move this motherfucker. Okay. Welcome back to Stoned Alone. This is the Inane Bullshit Podcast. And we are back. This may actually be hosted on Timmy Time. Cause then we can keep it real casual. Cause, it's all about Stoned Alone. And then, when it comes to the Inane Bullshit Podcast, it is definitely just like inane bullshit. And I already want to I just want to talk about, I just want to, go so off track. Literally, just, there's my desire. Whenever starting this podcast, I'm like, I want to derail the shit out of myself and just fucking, pull it off. But, anyways, here we are, and we are back. And I hope you are having a good time. And I'm glad to be reunited with this microphone. It's going straight into camera, so maybe a little quiet, but it is nice to have this once again because, this makes it very, very nice. And I've tried to get back into the podcasting, and I'm not gonna waste too much of this precious time talking about that, but I'm just glad to be at a desk. I think it helps to be sitting down, got a desk, and got the microphone. And I find this hilarious because in the shot, you can't see this fucking mess. This table, I just sprawled shit out all over, there's this fucking shit all over this. And, it's just hilarious that y'all can't even see that. But, yeah, here we are. And again, I can't just be wasting time saying this same shit over and over again, but I have actually shot a lot of podcasts. It's just I don't know, there would be something slightly off about it, or I just am not feeling it, or it's just a huge ass file. And so I've shot at least 10 podcasts that just never even got uploaded or anything. Anyways, though, it doesn't matter. We're back. I like the idea of having podcasts numbered. Have whatever the number. But I honestly have no idea where we're at, because we have at least 150 inane bullshits, and then there's just a whole bunch of random stuff that's gone up here but not there. Anyways, I think it's hilarious that I can't stop myself from talking about this, because if I go back and I start releasing these podcasts that I have shot, I waste all of the time talking about this. I literally spend all of my time on the podcast talking about why I haven't been or shooting here or whatever. So I think I've gotten that out of my system. I really can try to move past that, because that's been a fucking problem for me, is that I'll start shooting a podcast and I don't fucking talk about anything. I just say this meta shit about the actual act of recording it. And whatever. Meta ass shit. I'm gonna throw a cartridge on and hit this. I got a couple of these bad boys left. I got this cartridge organizer thing. You can put 6 in here. It's pretty cool. Alright, got some strawberry cough. And I need to make a pickup. I feel like I'm always saying this, but it is a perpetual thing. I need to make a pickup. I have absolutely nothing. I got a couple of these Delta 8 cartridges, but I have no weed. Definitely need to pick up. And I was gonna go yesterday, but someone called the cops on the sesh. So in Southern California, one of the cool things is, I'm sure there's other places in the States too, but at least in California here, there's a shit ton of seshes where people get together and it's underground. I don't think it's, some of them are completely legal, but some of them definitely aren't even legal or anything. And you get underground and people are just selling their weed. And that is amazing. That is the essence of what what I want to experience, because there are dispensaries. That is cool. It is cool that I can go in there and not get arrested and shit. But also, it's just fucking crazy expensive. Like, I just posted up this strain review on, Stoned Alone, and, shit racked up to almost $70. And I had a $20 coupon, too. So this was about to be $90 for a chocolate bar and an eighth. Fucking $90. Which is hilarious because, I came from an illegal state. It was a struggle, and it still wasn't that fucking expensive. It was always the struggle. Sometimes you couldn't even find any weed. Sometimes everyone would be dry, and it was just a struggle to get weed. But now that it's readily available, it's everyone's getting in on it, the taxes and such and all that bullshit. Anyways, I feel like it was a fun little start, a little intro, and from here, even as I'm about to say it, I'm like, I don't know, I'm gonna talk about Star Wars. All right, so I don't have anything like specific on it, but I finally just watched the fucking all three of the original Star Wars. So, like, I'd seen A New Hope before. I'd seen the first one, and I've seen when The Force Awakens came out, I saw The Force Awakens, and honestly, I just knew the story because fucking Lego Star Wars. Like, who's with me on this? I fucking played Lego Star Wars more than once. Like, I played that whole fucking story through. And now I'm having trouble remembering, like, how many... Was there a Lego Star Wars for each movie, or was it, like, just a couple Lego Star Wars for the whole thing? I don't fucking know. But it's kind of hilarious how, well, first off, how fucking good Lego Star Wars is, because that's such a random-ass thing, but that was a really fucking good time. And, like, as a kid, I feel like that was a very interactive way to experience the story. Because, now watching Star Wars, it's like, oh yeah, I already fucking, I played this in Lego. So, it is cool that, like, it was a, interactive experience, and it's very, fun, and I guess just, like, I don't know if cute would be the word, but, it's just, like, a very fun, family-friendly thing. So Lego Star Wars is very cool. But anyways, like, when it comes to Star Wars, I don't know what I want to focus on, because there's so much shit to talk about with Star Wars. Like, I don't think there's anything like it. Like, Star Wars is literally like mythology at this point, so it's interesting seeing the original 3 movies, because as movies themselves, I think it was a good trilogy. It was a very cool story and whatever, and, like, done very well. But it's just fascinating, like, looking at this and being like, wow, this is, one of the biggest money-making franchises in the history of all time. Like, and now Disney owns this shit. Like, it's just really weird. Like, I don't know, I'm gonna take a fat hit. One thing with podcasts is, before, I think I was a lot more cocky, like, I just did not give a shit. Now I'm not, like, self-conscious of it, but as I'm talking, I'm like, damn, like, it's just, I'm, like, very aware of the time passing by, and I just don't want to be, like, whatever, like, it's just funny thinking that it's, like, I don't want to waste someone's time, so it's, like, I'm not self-conscious about what I'm talking about. Like, I am interested in whatever I am talking about, but it's just weird doing podcasts, because I'm like, wow, I'm literally taking some of your time, and time is very precious. So, it's just like, I'm trying to be, like, aware of it and conscious of, like, trying not to waste someone's time who's listening, but also just being like, yeah, I don't really give a shit, I'm just gonna fucking talk about whatever's off the top of my head. So, when it comes to Star Wars, like, I don't know, that shit's fascinating, because is literally mythology. Like, I would bet, I would, I would almost damn near guarantee that there's probably more people that know the Star Wars story than, like, any Bible story, right? Like that's how fucking big this is, cuz that, I guess that used to be a pretty big standard, right? Like Bible stories and that kind of stuff. That's like, that's like humanity, that's like history, um in mythology, like written into our fucking our whatever, our species, and then now more people know Star Wars and like all this random shit, Darth Vader, even the audio effects. I don't think there's anything on this level. Like, who the fuck can recall and imitate the specific sound design from like any other movie? Like, how could you, like, there's nothing this big. So it's just fascinating, and I'm glad I waited so long to watch it. I literally felt like I've watched not all the movies, of course, and there's always unlimited more movies to watch. But I feel like I hit a point where it's like I've actually watched a shit ton of movies, and a lot of it's just in this past year since quarantine. Because when I was a kid, and like there's summers and summer off from school, I watched a fuck ton of movies. So from like from like a 10 to 15, 10 to 14, I watched a shit ton of movies, and that was like, I don't know, like my basis, whatever. Like that was just the shit that the shit that I had watched before, and that was kind of like what I had for reference. And then this past year, I watched another shit ton of movies, like at least in the hundreds, like a fuck ton of movies. Maybe just like 100, maybe just like a couple hundred, but still, like, I watched a fuck ton of movies this past year, and I finally hit this point where I was like, damn, I watched all the shit that I like, was really interested in, or like actually really wanted to see. So it was time to break out Star Wars. I'm like, damn, this is one of those things where it's like I just never watched it because I figured, there's always time to, and that is very true. Like, Star Wars is one of those, you can definitely go watch a bunch of obscure shit, and there will always be Star Wars. So I'm glad I waited, because it's just like, there's some perspective that it really was a good movie, and there is shit that, like, there's definitely stuff that I would talk shit about, but I think when it comes to this original trilogy, it was done very well. And the only thing that's kind of like troubling about it is anyone that's really familiar with Dune, may have may not think Star Wars is as incredible as it is, and that goes pretty deep. I don't know if you're fucking like, again, okay, I don't I can't just interrupt the podcast by like a fucking, with like insecurities or whatever, but I'm about to fucking talk about Dune. I'm sure there's some people that are like, I don't care, but it's pretty interesting. This shit goes real deep. So Dune itself, it's a book. It's like a space book, it's like sci-fi, and Dune is next level, because it's not just about, it's so funny how like brand name Star Wars is too, because it's like such an epic name. But anyways, Dune, it's not just about wars, right? Again, like, I say again a lot. That's like my crutch word. Again. All right, so when it comes to Dune, I actually have not read it or like watched any of the movies or anything. The movies that have been made, it's not good. Anyway, so Dune. What the fuck is Dune, right? I don't actually know, because I haven't read this shit. I probably should. I am interested in it. I got an audiobook on this once, But the Audible on Dune, this guy just sounds boring as shit. Like I literally could not retain any of it. I just kept falling asleep. I still have this audiobook, but like the audiobook kind of sucks. This guy is just so boring. So I definitely want to read it for myself. Maybe check out a library or something. As if I don't have enough like unread shit. Anyways, okay. So Dune is a book. I haven't like really read it, so it's not like, I'm super into it and understand it. But what is intriguing about it is the original movie that was going to be made about Dune. And also, like, a little preface on Dune, and the difference between it and Star Wars is Dune is about a. I want to. I'm gonna. I'm gonna call it a psychedelic. It's, they would use a different way of describing it. It's like a mind consciousness opening drug. Okay, so Dune is this sci-fi book, and it is about a psychedelic called spice. And in this Dune world, or maybe Dune is the planet. So there's this planet where there's a shit ton of psychedelics that are just like, it's just like part of the planet, right? Like you can just go harvest these psychedelics, and it's like, it's a real next level shit. It's like consciousness opening, whatever, like all that good shit. Like this is expanding whatever, like this, it's the good shit. It's not just drugs. It's like it's literally changing lives and entire consciousnesses and the perception of it. So we got this planet with a shit ton of psychedelics, and then there's a lot of kind of like battling over it, and it's a lot like Afghanistan. How, we'll talk about fucking whatever, like there will be all this kind of scare about terrorists or whatever, but we're not in Afghanistan because terrorists. We're in Afghanistan because of opium, and because you can harvest a shit ton of poppies out there, and that's what, the US is doing out there. So it's cool that Dune has a lot of these kind of dynamics. Again, I've not actually read this. This is literally just from like what I've heard described. So Dune was gonna be made like 10 years before Star Wars. The dude had all this shit ready, like it was gonna be made. And it gets deeper and deeper. Like the guy that was gonna make Dune is an epic fucking filmmaker. Like I'm talking literally, he's like an alchemist level spiritual fucking guy who is also an incredible filmmaker. And he's literally like, not that I condone this, but he's like into all this shit like alchemy and like it sounds like this guy's actually into like occult shit. So, that's not really like my cup of tea, but it's just fascinating that this guy is just on some next level shit. He's like really like, like understands spirituality and the mind. And this guy was going to make Dune. So, I got like respects for George Lucas, whatever. Like he's a cool guy, but they kind of went with the conservative route with kind of going with George Lucas and getting him to do it, because we all know Star Wars. Star Wars is what we understand as sci-fi, and it's like the biggest brand name and all this shit. But if Dune came out 10 years before, we would have a completely different world. And it's weird to say because, again, like, it's just a fucking movie, right? Like, it's literally just a sci-fi movie. But we would have a completely different world because if you think of how much impact Star Wars had, and instead of that, we had something about psychedelics and, like governments trying to lock it down or whoever's trying to fight over it and whoever wants to take control of it. Like, those are completely different dynamics and subject matter than the hero's journey in Star Wars. So that's not to hate on Star Wars. I think it was epic, and I went into it knowing all this Dune shit. So like watching it, I still was, I was very I was pumped to have this movie experience because I fucking love movies, and to have this, trilogy. I watched it back to back. Um, I think with like a day in between, I fell asleep. But I watched, all three in a row, and just being able to be immersed in it, and it really is a hero's journey. You're really seeing Luke. He's going from just the small town kid. He doesn't want to get into any trouble to like he has to face the fucking the emperor. Like literally he has to go from farm kid to like you are the last hope of the entire universe, and you alone can defeat the evil. Like that is an epic fucking journey, and to see him go through that and to reach that point is incredible. But Dune would have been different. Dune would have, I think that shit's crazy. That if that came out, that would have been 50 goddamn years ago. Imagine just 50 years ago, we're already talking about psychedelics. That's already in the collective consciousness. We're already talking about, fighting over it and like restrictions and, freedoms and like who can do what and all that shit, So I think that's the most fascinating thing with Dune. Now, when I say it gets deeper, first off, there's. First off is another one of my crutch words. First off, again, gotta pay attention to that. At least I don't say as many ahs and ums. I mean, definitely, it's easy to go and is another one of mine. I'm just saying this out loud because it's interesting hearing it, like, pop up. Like, as I'm talking, it's almost like I'm listening to a podcast and I'm not even trying to talk. I'm just, like, sitting here, like, listening to this podcast come out of my mouth. Anyways, so it does get deeper, and before I keep saying more shit, see, I just said an there. Before I get into more shit, there is a full-ass documentary about this. So it's called Jodorowsky's Dune. Maybe just search Dune and start from there. It was made in 2013, and there's a whole documentary talking about what Dune would have been, and I think it's really worth watching because it's very casual viewing. It's just a documentary, but they go through the art boards, and I mean, I got an art board right here, storyboard of like what I kind of want to shoot on the next project. So it's cool watching this documentary because you get to envision what this movie would have been or could have been. And the reason why I even found out about this was I stumbled across Jodorowsky's movie, The Holy Mountain. And I gotta say, like, mark this down. Mark my words. Maybe I'll come back to this. The trippiest goddamn movie of all time. The trippiest thing I've ever watched is The Holy Mountain. So, I came across that because, like, I just saw this photo of it, and it was, like, the trippiest fucking, screen grab from a movie I'd ever fucking seen. Just the whole title, The Holy Mountain, like, I was just very intrigued in this, and I first saw it, like, forever ago. Like, I first saw a photo of it, and I finally watched it while in Brazil. So, The Holy Mountain, trippiest movie of all time, and then this guy was gonna make Dune. So, like I said, he had all this other shit. He's, like, literally an alchemist. He's, like, like all this shit. And then, I actually haven't watched his other movies. He has a few. But Dune was gonna be his thing. Like, he made The Holy Mountain. He made a western called El Topo, which is, like, a psychedelic western. The acid western. And he was gonna make Dune. So, literally, like, he would have been the best fucking guy for it. He understands psychedelics and this entire world, which I think is very different from a lot of what we see. Like, I'm sure that a lot of filmmakers were on this route. A lot of filmmakers are with the good vibes and all that shit, tripping and, like, tapping in the third eye, fucking all that shit. We're all one. But I think the people that really made it and the people that the studios could trust with their money, I don't think they're like a different kind of breed. Because Kubrick, we still talk about his movies, and his stuff is incredible. Like, it's good shit. But that is not a chill guy. Like, Stanley Kubrick would not be someone that you would want to trip with or smoke weed with. He would probably be the fucking worst. So, it's just funny that we have a lot of incredible filmmakers, but the ones that really get the test of time, the ones that really get the funding mostly, because we talk about who's the best, but like there could be better people. It's just who is good that also has the persistence that can also get the money. Like those are all factors, because you can have the best filmmaker, but if they can't get the money and they can't get the clout, then who knows? They could literally be the best filmmaker, but no one would ever hear of them for the rest of time. So that's an interesting thing to think about, and I think that's the case with Jodorowsky. If this guy made Dune and it was the first sci-fi, of course there's 2001: A Space Odyssey, but that's a different thing. It's not like action and all that shit. So the first real action sci-fi, if he made it, I think he would have gone down in history, and everyone would know Jodorowsky like everyone knows George Lucas. And maybe he would have gotten more projects after, and, he probably would have fucking killed it, and he would probably make some real trippy shit. But no one gave him the money for Dune, so none of us have heard of him. And yeah, so it's like if I haven't heard of him, then I'm sure most people have not heard of this Alejandro Jodorowsky. Very cool guy. So with this whole Dune thing, again, there's this documentary on it, so I don't have to go super deep into it, but he was gonna go wild. Like, he was literally gonna get fucking Orson Welles in it to play someone. He was gonna get Salvador Dali to play the bad guy. I didn't even realize Salvador Dali was fucking alive during this time. This is the guy that made the paintings with melting clocks and stuff. Like, this guy was literally gonna be the bad guy in the movie, and he had, like, the huge fucking mustache, and how epic would that be? And he was going so wild with it that he even trained his son from birth to be, like, a great warrior. Like, he literally, like, trained his son to be a spiritual warrior and to, like, do fucking full-on karate lessons and everything, because his son was gonna play, the protagonist. And he was serious about it. He wasn't even gonna have him act. Like, he was literally gonna train his son to be the greatest warrior, and then that would have been the movie. So I really think this would have been a fucking epic movie, and it's hard to imagine now because we're so used to hearing Star Wars, but I think Dune really would have been the revolutionary shit. And then it's like, there's some other names in there, like, he's gonna throw some other huge, he was gonna have Pink Floyd, literally Pink Floyd, he met with them, and they were gonna make some of the music. So imagine this shit, fucking Pink Floyd, Salvador Dali, like, goddamn, this is, like, what more do I have to say? This movie would have been so goddamn epic. And, at the end of it, the studios just didn't feel like, they would make enough money from it. And, like, I understand the position, but that's just unfortunate that that's how it came down. So, why is this related to Star Wars then? Because I've heard people complain about this before. Actually, I remember since I was a kid hearing about this. And, like, my dad would mention it. Like, the whole thing with Dune and Star Wars, and people said that Star Wars is copying Dune. Here's the thing. If it's purely just sci-fi, I don't think it's really copying or plagiarizing. It's like, if you watch a bunch of sci-fi movies, it's like, you gotta take inspiration from somewhere, and that's how a lot of shit is made. If you watch anything, fucking The Departed, if someone is really into The Departed, they may not even realize that it's a remake of a Chinese movie called Infernal Affairs. So it's just like, originality is a fine line, because there is some incredible original shit, but most stuff is pieced together from other things, and that's what Picasso did. Picasso was literally an art forger. He would literally, like, paint other people's paintings and then sell that shit and make the money. And he became so good that, he just became known, and he was, like, the artist that we still know today. But he was literally just copying people's shit, but, he's just that good. And he even said it. He said, I steal like an artist, shit. So, So I don't blame Star Wars for being a sci-fi. But here's the thing. When they were making Dune, back to Hodorowski, right? They knew that studios didn't want to give them money. So he went all fucking out. Like, he literally already assembled every single person that he needed for it. He found the fucking guys that can make the model spaceships. He found the special effects guy, the guy that made that did special effects on Dark Star. And then that guy ended up writing Alien afterwards. So like, it's just crazy. Like, he had a real solid fucking team. Anyways, when they came to the studios, they printed out a giant book, and I'm talking fucking giant. And it had diagrams, it had fucking storyboards, and it had all of the different special effects, it had all of the different all that shit, you know what I mean? So one thing that they also had was fight sequences, and they literally had the fight battles already choreographed out and designed, and it was written and drawn and all that shit. So that is actually some shit that Star Wars took. And I'm not saying that like George Lucas personally said, I'm gonna steal this shit from Dune. George Lucas, he probably wrote the story originally, but there's a lot of people working on movies, especially with Star Wars. That's a fuck ton of people working on it. So, it may not be in the story, it may not be in George Lucas, but a lot of these Star Wars things just straight up took that shit from Dune. Because, they gave the diagrams up. They said, here are the diagrams so that you'll trust us and give us the money. But then the studio said, you know what? We're just going to take all your diagrams. We're not going to give you any money. And then we're just going to make something epic with all of the shit that you gave us. So when it comes to this lightsaber sequences, that was literally planned out by Hodorowski's team. That was for Dune. And I don't even think Dune had lightsabers, that's literally just sword fights. But then Star Wars is like, oh shit, if we just fucking make it like a futuristic thing and use the same sequences, that'll be like super cool. So I'm not trying to hate on the end product. I think Star Wars was dope. But having seen those diagrams first and then watching the lightsaber sequence, I'm like, these motherfuckers. Like, Hodorowski deserved this shit. He would have made the best movie of all time. Fucking hands down. But now no one's heard of him, and they just took his shit. They took the fucking lightsaber sequences, they took the fucking spaceships, they took the ways of doing all the special effects. They took all that shit. So that is some story behind Star Wars. I'm gonna drink some fucking coffee. I don't even think I hit this cartridge, actually. And you can't drink coffee without hydrating with some water. I put some lemon in this motherfucker. Okay. Well, I think so far this is pretty fun. It's like, Star Wars definitely, it's just so interesting. Because when I say how big it is, I don't know anything else like this shit. When I was in Taiwan... Sorry, I'm just fucking getting this cartridge. Is it... I mean, it shouldn't be dead, but... I suppose it is. Oh. That's so funny. It's working, but it's not letting me actually change the temperature, which is very funny. This never actually happened before. Come on, bro. I still stand by this battery. This is a sick ass battery, but like, wow, funny shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Why did 1, 2 work? Okay, that's so fucking weird. 1, 2, 3. Ah. We're back now. We're at the low temp. use code STONEDHIM on the Togi, which, I'm sorry to interrupt this, y'all, but I am having a sponsored segment right this second, and that is brought to us by Ganja Berry. So, I did a strain review on Stoned Alone. It was thanks to them that I could get the herb for it, and I'm very grateful. So show them some love if you will, and we got a code. Fuck, this is like not edited, so it's Stoned Alone 10. I believe it's gotta be. It's gotta be. So we got code Stoned Alone 10. Check this out. This is made from actual goji berries into a pre-roll cone wrap, and you can stuff 1.5 grams of it into this shit, and burns pretty well. Tastes really good too. Some real shit. So that is that. End of sponsor segment. Shout outs to Ganja Berry. And side note, if you actually buy one of these Stoned Alone trays, I'll be throwing a pack in there as well, because they gave me a good amount of these, and I will be giving these to whoever orders one of these. One of the anyone that orders, I'm trying to think. I'm not trying to be stingy here. I'm just trying to see how many I have. I think for the big ones, if you order a big tray, I will throw some ganja berries in there. I have to update the website. I honestly am slacking on that. I just gotta finish that shit. But this will be on stone.social, as well as the sweatshirt that I'm wearing, which is hand fucking done. This is the original. This is like an actual Polaroid that came out all fucked up. The film, all crumpled up at the bottom. So I just drew on it instead. End of sponsors segment. But we gotta keep the weed bills paid, because weed is not cheap. So yeah, excuse that. But I do think whatever. I don't even fucking comment on that. We gotta get back into the podcast here. So Star Wars. What else about Star Wars? I think what was most beautiful about it was this whole analogy with the Force and the dark side, because I think that's put really well, because we all have a completely different struggle and a completely different kind of experience when it comes to the dark side, but we all do encounter it. And it's cool that they kept it so open, because we're able to take that into interpretation, right? Because if they said, I don't know what they would fucking say, right? But just that's so broad, the dark side. They don't say I don't know, something specific. They don't say it's these they are called the Imperials, right? But they don't even say that it's it's just the Imperials that are fucking with us. They're it's the dark side, it's the whole essence of darkness and the opposite of good, right? It's just it's this evil shit, and it's not even just evil. It's it's the temptations before it. It's specifically, they said the dark side is anger, aggression, and fear. So that's put so elegantly that you can give in to fear, or you have to step up and stay a Jedi Knight, because that shit was so epic. At the end of Star Wars, the Emperor is oh, you are finally here, I've turned you to the dark side. And Luke literally says you haven't done shit. I mean, he didn't literally say that, but Luke just looks at him you haven't done shit, bro. I'm a Jedi Knight, motherfucker. You can't touch this. I got the Force. Shit. What are you gonna fucking do? You got the armies, you got the Death Star, but I got the Force. And that's so beautiful, That's just harnessing the energy of the collective unconscious. I think the collective conscious or the collective unconscious, that kind of is the Force. running through every living being. You can really feel it if you are in tune with it. And I can't just like fucking start lifting shit and like in that, but like I think with the actual force, you can feel its presence. And if you're tripping, if you take some acid, you start, you know, taking a bunch of not just taking a bunch of shit. No, it's like, if you're tripping and you got some acid or some psilocybin, I think you're really able to kind of feel this other layer of reality. It peels back what we're used to, right? Like just the physical appearance of things. It peels that back into this feeling of just energies. Because below the surface of what we physically see, like our actual bodies and our skin and fucking, physical things, beneath all of this, I think we know that it really is all just energy flowing. And we can always feel that, and it's always a constant flow. And I think that's kind of that shit with, anxiety that's, looking too far ahead. You're kind of like losing, and, you're not taking control of the current flow. Looking into the past, that's depression, because you're just, you're being pulled back to what was already there, what already was. So I think really everything is this energy, and the force is put very beautifully because they keep it very open and they keep the whole thing broad. And then what the fuck is the thing with later on with like with the prequel trilogy? They said it's like some shit, some fucking what mitochrons or some shit in your blood. I think that's some bullshit. I'm really glad to see this OG trilogy, because that's some good shit. That's some real shit, and it's I just say that over and over again. It's some good shit. Some real shit. Some good shit. Some real good shit. Some good real shit right there. But like, I don't know. Maybe I will check out these prequels just to see like what it actually kind of looks like. But I think what's so elegant about the original three is you don't fucking need anything else. They already imply these things. They already like get into it. We don't have to go see Anakin fucking racing. I already heard Obi-Wan say that he's good at it. Like, I don't need to fucking go watch a whole prequel movie on this shit. I don't need to see Obi-Wan young. Like, we understand. We saw him as a mysterious hermit. He says he's fought in the Clone Wars. Boom, done. We don't fucking need anything else. So I do understand why people hate the prequels. I haven't even watched them, and I already fucking think it's completely ridiculous and fucking unnecessary. And now to the franchising of Star Wars. I think this is what just different things with running through my mind about this, that Star Wars is, the biggest fucking franchise of all time ever to ever be. And that's just crazy shit. Like, fucking sorry, I'm what do I even say about it, right? Being in fucking Taiwan or Brazil or anywhere, and you are in Europe, you see Star Wars shit everywhere. Literally, like bumper stickers, fucking anything, t-shirts, all that shit. I think the only, in recent memory, the only thing close is the Joker from The Dark Knight. I actually do see Dark Knight shit worldwide as well, which is very impressive. It's not easy to pull that shit off. Like, that's just imagine making all that shit, like all the fucking bumper stickers and all the t-shirts and all the graphics and why so serious and keychains and fucking whatever, bobbleheads and posters, like some wild shit. But Star Wars, it's like the biggest franchise of all time. I've never seen some shit so worldwide like this. It is fucking everywhere, and I think it's at least a good one, because and this is what troubles me. If it was just the original prequel, this would be a or original, fucking trilogy. I think this would be a good thing because if this was such a big name brand and such a big thing, and everyone went to go see this original revolution and rebellion, I think that's a cool thing. It's a really good story. There's a lot of good lessons, but then it's just fucked up because there's all this bullshit, right? There's the three prequels, and then now there's this bullshit. What, Force Awakens, fucking Jedi and shit. Like, that's so fucked up. And not only that, like, it's already lame as hell that they're remaking it and banking on nostalgia. Not only that, they basically fucked and snubbed John Boyega, the guy that actually is the new protagonist. They basically kind of told him that he would be the new Luke Skywalker, and in the first movie he was, and then apparently he's just not really in it anymore. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna be Luke Skywalker," and then they're kind of like, "Nah, actually, not really." They just kind of fucked him on that whole thing. So Disney, fuck Disney, bro. Disney is literally an arms dealer. If you did not know that, I don't know the specifics on this, but this is some shit that, if you ask any kind of conspiracy kind of person, they'd definitely get you on that. But Disney literally is such a conglomerate that they do shit like selling arms. So it's just not a good thing, I think, for anyone, for society, for anything, for freedoms. Sorry, I'm just talking about, not talking shit about Disney here. I did see the Force Awakens, but I didn't see the ones after that. And now after watching the original, I'm like, that's such a cheap shot. I understand it, and I'm not, I don't think, it's, I think it's okay that it happened, but it's just sad that there's no original, back to that word original, it's just fucked up that there's no new things coming out. It blows my mind that every day, not every day, it blows my mind that every time I look at upcoming movies, it's just remakes, and it's at this point, it really does not make sense. Before it made sense, right, you want to, whatever, make your money back, make your investment back. But at this point, it's no one wants to fucking watch this stuff. And I guess some people still do go see it, but I think this idea of just remaking shit that's a proven concept, that's proven it will work, that's the saddest fucking thing about filmmaking. And I don't think it's an end of filmmaking. I think people are gonna be tired of this shit. I don't think people want to watch all this bullshit that's just a remake of something they already didn't want to watch. If someone doesn't want to go back and watch the original, then don't remake it. That should be pretty common sense. If someone doesn't want to go watch, what the fuck are they even remaking? They're remaking ridiculous shit, West Side Story. Listen, I haven't even watched that movie. I want to be a film buff, that's not one I've even fucking got around to. If someone doesn't want to watch West Side Story, which is most people, if people don't want to watch West Side Story from 19 whatever, then why the fuck would they want to watch it in 2021? Of course they'll have new cameras, it'll be cleaner looking, it'll have new audio, but that makes no fucking sense. If you wouldn't watch the original, that means that there's no interest, and then to spend millions and millions of dollars to remake it, that's the stupidest shit ever. So it's just funny because this year's just ranting about studios and whatever. It's an easy target, anyone conglomerate, anyone that's the man, you can definitely talk shit about. And the funny thing is, I'm not even trying to be unreasonable. I'm saying for their end, if they want to make money, which is what they want to do, if they want to make profit, they got to stop making this stupid ass shit. Because I personally would go to a movie theater and pay a full movie theater price if there's a movie showing that is good, and it's like they just keep putting out bullshit and are like, wow, we're really not making money. We gotta make more remakes. Let's make some worse fucking movies because we gotta play it safe. It's just it's absurd. And I think that's one cool thing about watching old school movies is, you know, it's not just the script, right? It's not even just the filmmaker or the crew. It's the fact that a lot of times these are wild fucking ideas and they could actually still get funding. It's like, there's some crazy shit. Like I don't even fucking know, man. It's just some shit like, I don't know, even something like Groundhog Day, like that's an excellent movie. And not really a good example. I guess like Ghostbusters. Like Ghostbusters, that must, I don't know how much that would have fucking cost, but like that's a wild idea, and it's cool that they took this huge risk making this fucking Ghostbusters movie that, from a studio perspective, it's like shit, this may not work. Like Ghostbusters, like really? So it's just cool that taking these big risks is what has brought us a lot of classic movies. And, if you're someone that doesn't watch classic movies, you just want to watch new Netflix shit, I think this is a perspective on why people like that. Is obviously people like nostalgia, obviously people like, stuff that they grew up watching. But it's also like, there's some cool ass shit. Like, that's why classic movies are always talked about, because they could go further and do things, and not just from like, what, like a studio kind of perspective. They could go with crazy ideas and then really, bring the humanity to it. Like we could see this cool shit. So I don't fucking know. It's just when I talk about this, thankfully, I think filmmaking has a lot of hope. And I'm not just saying all this to be like filmmaking is dead, there's no more hope, we don't have anything good. I think it's gonna change around. I think people fucking love movies. I think people love watching shit more than ever. And I think that with the technology, it's a lot cheaper to make movies. I think it's cheap as fuck to make movies. I mean, evidently, coming from me. But like, I think there's a lot of hope from filmmaking. And what I saw in Star Wars is, it's beautiful because at that time, that is a commercial production. Like, that is a big money thing, but you can feel the humanity. And I guess that's what I'm trying to get at, is the difference between Star Wars and the Avengers is on Star Wars, they're fucking having a good time. Carrie Fisher is coked out, fucking Princess Leia is coked out, Han Solo, Harrison Ford is just some janitor that they found. Mark Hamill, probably a good ass guy. I don't fucking know. So just imagine this set, right? Like George Lucas with the vision, just this chill guy in his white sneakers, just this guy with the vision, and then just a blast of a time. And all of this crew is doing something that's never been done before. They're really fucking going hard. They're putting in hours, and they're loving what they're doing, and they've created something that will last fucking the tests of time, that will last through humanity. I think that's the funniest thing about watching Star Wars was, it's not necessarily the greatest movie, but again, it's these other factors. It's the factor of the longevity, of the clout, of the cult following, of the mass marketing. And while I'm hating on Disney, and it's like, it's funny that they're just, just milking the shit out of it. They're just totally fucking just, beating a dead horse with it. With that said, because of all of this mass marketing, I think that Star Wars will still at least, like be a remnant of history. So maybe not everyone will, like watch Star Wars, but I think the Star Wars will literally last like the fucking Bible, which is a big statement. Like the Bible is a big thing, but I'm just imagining in 10,000 years when they look back on this history of time, they're not gonna have like a top 100 list. They're not gonna like watch 100 human movies. I think in thousands of years they'll be like, wow, this is the film. This is the film that encapsulated humanity from whatever the year 1000 to 3000. This is the piece that will help us understand them and their mythology. And I think it's that fucking level of shit. Like, I'm trying to think of another example. I don't even know. It's like the wonders of the world, like the Sphinx. How did the Sphinx get there? We still look at hieroglyphs, right? God damn it. Fuck that. What is that? Hieroglyphs? You know what I fucking mean. We still look at hieroglyphs. That's the one. And are fascinated by it. So maybe in 10,000 years, we'll have another kind of Atlantis-type civilization. Maybe Atlantis is in the future, and like we somehow got these tales from it just mixed up through time. Anyways, so maybe there's this advanced civilization 10,000 years from now, and they already got the fucking holograms, and they're like floating around and shit. Maybe they're literally just consciousness, and they're plugged in. And in 10,000 years, they're gonna watch Star Wars and be like, damn, that's a good fucking movie. Like, damn, that's some good shit that they put together there. That's an excellent story, and we understand. Even if they don't even speak English, I think that's the power of Star Wars, is that, there's other alien languages and shit too going on through it. So even if they fully are just watching from a visual point of view, and they don't understand the dialogue, but there's such good sound design, I think Star Wars is on that fucking level that it can be interpreted 10,000 years from now. So I think that's what makes it special. Personally, it's like, again, I would rather watch if Dune was made. If they made Dune with Pink Floyd and all this, I think that would have been a cooler movie. It would have been more, like, from a filmmaking point of view, it would have been much more artistic, much more epic. But from an everyday person point of view, from a mass point of view, I think Star Wars is fucking awesome because it's able to get to anyone. It's able to like relate to anyone and still bring this message and still bring this story of the hero and all the lessons of, the dark side, and to not be tempted by it, and that if you start down that road, then there's no turning back. And how Anakin, at the very end, as Vader, he still had some good in him, and he still helped save everyone, and he said, his last words were like, let your sister know, let Leia know that I actually was a good guy, that I still had it in me. And that just hit so fucking deep, because we only see Vader being this asshole the whole time. And they've done it very well. Like, in the first movie, he's kind of mysterious. We just see him walking around. We just know that this is the bad guy, for sure. At the very end, he's just like, fuck, like this is the end. This is my last chance. I'm literally only gonna survive for another 20 minutes, tops. And in this 20 minutes, I can choose to end my son and end all of hope, or to sacrifice myself for the good and to start a new hope and to start a fresh opportunity for the entirety of humanity. He can take the Emperor on and fucking end that reign of evil. Evil will still start up again. There will always be a battle between the good and evil, the dark and the light. But in this moment, he can reset it and give the light a new fucking chance, a head start. And that's just so fucking beautiful. And again, why I think there shouldn't have been more movies after, because this is fucking incredible. Like, this is good shit. But also, the movies after is like, I can't get too irritated by it, because I don't have to watch them, and I probably still will. So, like, I can't even get mad. It's just, this original trilogy is, what I would actually consider Star Wars, and it really lived up, and I'm fucking glad I waited because like it probably would have been cool to watch as a kid, but like I just think I went into it with no like influence. It's just like I watched it purely from a point of view of just like a completely blank point of view, and it was epic. And like I had seen A New Hope before. That was actually pretty recent, but anyways, like it was just cool to see this and be like, wow, this is my first time fucking seeing that. And even though I knew a lot of the story already, it was just cool that like it's like the first time seeing that scene and the first time seeing that edit, and I got the fucking whatever, I torrented the whole 1080, the Super HD remaster and all that shit, and it just looked so good. That's what tripped me out because I watched The Force Awakens, and it was a cool theater experience. Like it really was cool, and like the actual technology nowadays, like it's sick to see all those pixels and to see it clear and crisp and clean. But going back, I'm like, the fucking cinematography of the OG Star Wars, like this shit is better because it's not that clean, but it's that film look. It's like it still retains all of this detail, and it's just a little grittier, but like it's so real. And to see fucking Harrison Ford, like just fresh like that, it's such an authentic experience. And even with the aliens, they look better in the fucking original Star Wars than they do in the Disney shit, because they're actually making these models, and like it's a trap. That alien guy from the meme, his eyes, they made it with real glass, so you could literally see like glass reflecting in his eye, and it was shot on film, so you're like really seeing this like fucking beautiful thing. Whereas you can do that with CGI, but like it doesn't look the same as actual glass and like light refracting through it. It just looks like it just looks like computer shit. So it's just cool seeing that in like Chewbacca, Chewie. He looked incredible. The Wookiee, his actual fucking hair and the detail, C3PO, R2D2, like it all looks so real. And they literally made this shit, from scratch. So it's just funny because the new Disney shit doesn't even stand up to what was that long ago. So I think that goes back to the point of like the remakes and stuff. I guess Star Wars does work because you would go back and watch it, so it is worth a remake, but whatever. And it's like the franchising, I think it's a double-edged sword, because I could keep talking shit about it. I do think it's very funny, like it's very capitalistic, and if you compare Star Wars to like, I don't fucking know, like I don't know, like it's all comparisons and shit, but like Star Wars, it is a very franchise thing, and if we're talking about something like even like Inception, that's a big movie, but it's not really franchised like that. You don't see people walking around with like Inception shit and like buying Inception plushies and like stuffed animals and stuff and like action figures. So it is funny how commoditized Star Wars is, but I also think if it's gonna be anything, at least it's Star Wars. At least they didn't commodify on. It could have been much worse. Like, Star Wars is an epic story. It is a vast universe. Like, that's pretty cool. I'm glad that it was that. Because even with the Marvel shit, I don't fuck with it. I'm like, that's so cheesy. Like, of course, Marvel has always been around. There's always been this stuff. But just, like, it's so Disney now. It's just, there's no, you don't feel any, like, comic book feeling from it. Which, I guess, it doesn't have to be. It is a new age. But, like, just I think Marvel I will always talk shit on. Not because Marvel itself sucks, but it's like commoditized in a whole fucking Disney thing. Anyways, I think Star Wars, it is funny how commoditized it is, but it's also like the right one to be that. Oh, also, I have this backlight, too. I can backlight myself. And it's connected to the... Got a power strip to the microwave, too. Alright. Sorry, wait. I gotta fucking do this. It's not like I have to do that, but it'll make the smoke look better. So, just interesting stuff. I do think it's the best one that could have been this franchised. And this is why I think they said no to Dune. They saw Dune, they saw the potential in it, and they're like, wait, like we can make some more money off this. Let's wait a few years. Star Wars comes about. All right, that's the fucking one. It's got the name, it's got the brand, it's got the, even the fucking title font. Like Star Wars, that's the one. So it's just funny that like Dune, it would have been about all the psychedelic stuff, but like Star Wars, no, that's the one that's gonna sell. It's not offensive to anyone. Like, it is an epic story, but it's also not gonna like shake up any any society or anything. So we are good on that. And what's funny about George Lucas is, in the past, he did make a very like kind of society based movie called THX. God damn, what the fuck was this movie called? THX 117. If that is the real name of it, I am happy with myself, because it's something like that. And I swear it's that. THX 117. So George Lucas made this movie about a dystopian future where emotions were not allowed and people were not given names, but rather these numbers to disassociate themselves even further. And this was super low budget, super indie shit. And that's probably why, I'm sure a lot of people have never heard of this. But it is kind of a weird one. First off, it is weird and it's very indie. It is a little slow, but it's definitely worth a watch, because this is from that great mind of George Lucas that made the biggest thing, but he also, we can see his thoughts on society and all that shit, and like, like that realness. And he never went back into that again. He made his money off Star Wars, and he said apparently he makes movies that he only shows his friends. So on one end, I'm like, all right, I guess. but I definitely have respect for it. I think that's definitely really cool in an aspect, but also in another aspect, it's kind of like, it's just kind of funny. Like, it's just weird to think about. Like, make the biggest thing of all time, have unlimited money basically, and then it's just like, all right, shit, I guess I have nothing to do. I'll just make movies that I only show a few people. Like respects, because that's dope to be on that level, but that's just so funny that's like George Lucas. But anyways, so what the fuck? He made this movie about the society, and basically like two people fall in love and they're not supposed to, and it's just like it's pretty basic. Like that's basically the whole thing, but it's just fascinating to see, and it's just like that was back then. So I think with when it comes to society and being a human, we're just always balancing utopia and dystopia. We can have technology, but that doesn't mean we're more civilized than, the fucking Romans or the Greeks that long ago. We have cell phones, but why does that mean we're like better than maybe a Greek philosopher or a Stoic? How does someone that's addicted to their fucking piece of glass in their pocket, how is that more advanced than a Stoic who understands life and just is enjoying it? So it's a fascinating thing to think about, because I think people really default into being like, yeah, we're advanced as shit. Like, I have a cell phone, we have fucking 5G LTE signal, so that means that we're smart as fuck, we're good as fuck, we're the best. But if you really look at history, it's like they didn't have cell phones, but it's a different thing. So it's fascinating that we're always kind of balancing this line, always heading back into dystopia, and then we kind of gotta like, okay, well, let's reel back a bit. Let's reel it back. A lot of times there's these resets, like everything's just gotta go to absolute shit, and then it fucking, has a reset. So it's just, it's fascinating to see all this, and Star Wars, it built out a world so well that you could feel it and you could live in it. And I think it captured the kind of like the scoundrel and unpredictable, fucking spontaneous nature of reality and life and of consciousness. Because like everywhere you go there's these bars, and there's just the people talking up, and they're just chatting and laughing, and it's just cool seeing that these totally alien figures, but it has that essence of life itself. And like doing like DMT and meeting like DMT aliens, you definitely get this feeling that there's a lot of like mischievous energy out in the world. And it's just cool seeing all this. And like Jabba the Hutt, he has like everything, so he's just kind of like, all right, fuck it, like what can I take to the most extreme? I'm gonna like buy some slaves from this country and feed them to the beast downstairs, the was it Rakor, the Rancor. It's just gonna take some people, feed them to the Rancor. He's got bounty hunters. Like, he really does not have to do that. He could just read a book, but he's like, yeah, fuck it. I'm Jabba the Hutt. I'm just gonna like take it all out. He has people partying all over in there, and like, it's just cool seeing different elements of reality portrayed on alien figures and not just humanoid, and seeing this coexistence between the humans and the aliens and stuff. And they did a really fucking great job on set design, and it really built out this world where you're living in it, and they got the different music and stuff. And that's also funny because that was an idea of Dune, that every planet would have its own style of music and all that shit. But anyways, so fascinating stuff. And it's crazy that these worlds are so built out that it's just like, so I said I played Lego Star Wars. On top of Lego Star Wars, there's also Star Wars Battlefront on the PS2, and then on the Wii, I got the Force Unleashed, which was sick. Actually using the fucking the Wii lightsaber, Wii as a lightsaber, and that one was that was like a cool rebranding of Star Wars. So again, like, this is totally franchise shit. Like, it's just this milking Star Wars, but it's also this world that is already built out, so these cool things could come from it. Because I do think that these video games were some great experiences, and even if they were just to make money for these companies, I'm sure the actual designers of the games cared about it, and I'm like, they were really fun to play, and they had they were good experiences to bond with friends and with my brother and shit, and just it was good childhood experiences. So it's weird that Star Wars is so spread out, spread out over video games, fucking everything. But like, it brings a lot of I think it brings a lot of wonder to like being a kid, and like joy and shit. So it is all a money thing, but it is a cool franchise if there ever was to be one. Because I can't think of anything else that's like that cool. So yeah, I do think it's cool. But anyways, yeah, playing these video games is crazy because it's like actually literally knowing these worlds. Like, I hadn't watched the Star Wars before, but watching it, I'm like, oh yeah, Mos Eisley, of course. Oh yeah, that bar, that fucking music. Oh, I dig that. And then like the whatever, the Ewoks and the Wookiee, like all that shit. It's just like, it's so fucking cool to see all these different little these things tied together. So yeah, Star Wars, fascinating fucking shit. And it's funny that it's been this long since I've watched them. It's been this long until I watched the movies, and even without watching the movies, this shit is so branded. There's like, I literally even knew the worlds that they were in. I knew all the things that were gonna happen, really. I knew all the like characters and their backstories. And when I was a kid, I read a book about Boba Fett. So like, the universe is really fucking big when it comes to Star Wars. Cause I was at the school library, shout outs to that. I do think it was cool. I don't know, there's probably schools that don't do that, but in Holden, Massachusetts, in Davis Hill, I remember that was a fire ass library just right in the fucking elementary school. Anyways, I got this Boba Fett book from there. Shit, maybe I got that at the other public library. Anyways, in Holden, the public library is dope too. It used to be something. It's like some kind of pilgrim settlement. So it's from all the way back to those fucking days, like 1700s, and it's all cobblestone. And that was just an epic library. It's kind of like in the town square and everything. So shout out to Massachusetts, Central Mass. I gotta pee, but I'm gonna hold it out until the end of the recording. So we probably won't go that much longer, but I will. That's just a heads up. So it's just crazy that like this world's so big that I literally read an entire book about Boba Fett. And of course these are all like different writers and shit. Like people can just make stuff up, but it's all, I think it's all canon. Like it all works. It's just crazy that it's like I already knew this whole story about Boba Fett, and I'm realizing there is the prequels too. So the prequels may have Django, but I haven't even watched the prequels, so it's like I don't even know anything from those. Anyways, like just knowing this whole story of Boba Fett, you know, his dad was Jango Fett, an epic bounty hunter. You know, they bounty hunt for the credits, and then like when he was a kid, like I think like losing his mom or something, and then he lived on the home planet full of rain, and we see that in Battlefront too, Star Wars Battlefront. And then like he loses his dad and he has to set off on his own just as a kid, starting these bounty hunter jobs. He's getting stuck on these remote planets like in quicksand and all this shit. And it's just crazy like reading all of that and reading him taking on this journey and getting to the point that he's at, and then going to see this movie literally like 10 years after reading that and being like, wow, I see Boba Fett standing in the corner of the frame and I know exactly his story. And like, you know, he's taking this neutral side. He doesn't like Jabba. He doesn't like these, you know, people. He doesn't like any of these people, but he also doesn't dislike them. He's just completely neutral. He's just standing like a G with his fucking hands crossed like this, and you know, he's just got to get that money. He's not a bad guy, but he lost his parents. He's on his own. All he has is his jetpack and his ship, and you better best believe that this motherfucker is gonna get the credits no matter what. So it's just crazy seeing that in the movie. He's only in there for like 10 minutes, but he's such a G. It's just like crazy understanding this whole thing. And then I'm sure they probably get into that with prequels and shit, but yeah, Boba Fett, that's awesome. And then they make the whole fucking Mandalorian now. So that's a case of like whatever, like they can do whatever they want, but I mean that's more on the people than them making it. I'm like, whatever, I'm fine, like, sure, make the fucking Mandalorian. What I'm confused about is all the people watching the Mandalorian. Like, come on, bro, like whatever, I'm not even passing judgment. It's just funny that, like, it's just funny to me that it could even be a thing. It's just, like, completely, that's just absurd, you know? It's just like, we have Star Wars already, like, they told the whole story. But now we're bringing back the whole Mandalorian because Boba Fett, who was, you know, I think that's the beauty with filmmaking is people, like, some of this really good shit is used sparingly. Boba Fett's only in the movie for 10 goddamn minutes, and that's because he is a really interesting character, but that's the amount of screen time. That's the amount of character development, and kind of it's good for him to stay a mystery. And then we go make this whole Mandalorian thing. It's like, we already got the whole gist in 10 minutes. We already got the essence of this being. We already understand how dope this guy is. We make a whole fucking new series and then do the whole Baby Yoda thing. Milk that whole fucking thing. It's like, that's ridiculous. Because Yoda is 900 years old by the time Luke meets him. So it's just funny that they're just taking a species and doing this whole fucking thing where it's just like, but it works. So, you know, can't hate on him. Can't, you know, I guess you can't hate the player, hate the game. And I do. I guess I hate the game that the landscape is all nostalgia and remakes, but can't hate the player. That is the game, I guess. But it's also the players make the game. You know, Disney dictates what media will be. So with them doing shit like remakes, well, that's what everyone else is gonna fucking do, because that's the market now. But whatever, now there's space. It's cool that there's space, right? We got Paramount, they're doing their whole thing, Paramount Plus. We got HBO Max, which did it like, I think it partnered with whatever Warner Bros or something. I don't actually know what happened with that. So we got HBO Max, we got fucking Paramount Plus, of course Netflix, the G, even got Apple, we got fucking Hulu, like Amazon. So I think this is a very beautiful time because we were reaching this point of lame ass movies. But now that we have these different avenues, it's like, all right, well, let Disney make whatever Disney's gonna do. They're already gonna fucking do that with Disney Plus. But at least it's staying on Disney Plus, right? It's like, I can't even hate on Disney. Keep it all in your shit. I'm never gonna fucking get that. Like, cool. You know, if anyone wants to watch that, that's cool. There is a lot of cool stuff on there. There's a lot of media. So Disney, do your fucking thing. But when it comes to these other guys, when it comes to Netflix, I'm just hoping, not even hoping. I see the potential of really creative, really original stuff. Because there's competition, they're gonna have to take risks and they're gonna have to make unique shit, which is very good for the viewers and also the filmmakers. And I think this is a time that well, let's just say it's a time that's dope, because I don't think there's ever been a better time for filmmakers, a better time for creative shit in general. I don't think there's ever been a time since the fucking Renaissance. I truly believe that this is a renaissance in itself, and it's wild because it's really shaking things up. You know, there's stuff that is collapsing, there's entire systems that are falling apart, but we're also in a renaissance of new shit. So we're in this huge battle of like destruction and like disaster, but also hope and creation from the ashes. So beautiful fucking time right now. And I think we're gonna see some cool stuff because these streaming platforms are about to run out. They couldn't do that much production with COVID, and the productions that are happening have to take all these precautions and take budget cuts with buying fucking PPE and just, you know, just really fucking up the whole filmmaking process. Like, it's just really just ridiculous. So I think that these guys like Netflix, these streaming platforms, they're gonna start to run out of stuff, and then they're gonna say, well, shit, we're gonna fucking take anything, go wild, full reign, do some shit, make some shit. And I think they're gonna just start buying some stuff up. So I think as a viewer, that's a good thing. There's gonna be some epic fucking movies, epic stuff coming out. And maybe we will be coming back to more movies too, because we went on this whole thing with Netflix proved that you could get a lot of watch time by making bingeable shows. And I think that's going to stay a thing. There's always going to be binge watchable shows. But I also think with the cost of production, I think we're going to be going back to a lot of movies too, which makes me very happy because I fucking love movies. And sure, there's been a lot of good shows. Like, I watched a lot of these, right? I love binge watching too. But I think it is kind of a devilish way of making media. Because every time I watch a fucking... Not every time, right? Not every time. A lot of times, when I watch a miniseries, I look at that shit and I'm like, that's a fucking... You could just make a movie. And the movie would be better too. It would have more foreshadowing. You would have a full payoff, you know? You would have the build. You would have the character development. You would have a goddamn movie. But it's gonna be better for them to keep you on for 6 hours. If you can show up and binge watch whatever fucking however many episodes of almost an hour long, let's say like 8 episodes of 45 minutes, that's whatever, that's probably like 6-ish hours. So I kind of want to do the math on that now, but I'm just gonna fucking take too long on that. So it's just like Netflix, it's good for them if you stay all day and watch their shit, because they're keeping you on the page. Boom, boom, boom. That's good for them. That's cha-ching, cha-ching. That's fantastic. They're making their investment back. But if you go and you watch for 2 hours and then leave, they're like, shit, you know, like, fuck, we could have we could have kept him here all day and then we would have gotten the views up, but we couldn't keep him all day, so it's like, shit, it's gonna be more beneficial to make miniseries. So, I don't know, I think there's gonna be always more miniseries. I think it's always gonna be a thing, but you can only do so much of it. You know, if all these fucking platforms, if there's like 100 shows coming out, if there's like fucking hundreds of shows coming out, how is anyone gonna watch that shit? I think that movies are very valuable, and we are gonna see movies come back again, which I will be very happy for. Because I think even the 2000s, that was a pretty big boom of, I don't know, even like, I think all the way until very recent, movies, I don't know, actually, I don't have a definitive statement. I just want to fucking rant, you know. It's like, it's funny when I get into this mood because I know, I'm not playing the full devil's advocate. I usually like to be full on devil's advocate for like every fucking little detail, but whatever. Like, I'm just in a ranting mood, but I think overall there's a lot of hope, and I think overall we're gonna have some good ass movies. And on another note, I hope to be able to make movies as well, because I think it's gonna be possible. I think there's fucking so many more opportunities now than ever before. Even when I was a kid, and like I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker, but when I looked into it, it's like it seemed fucking impossible. How the fuck, you know, like what, like how the fuck, like these giant ass studios with 1 billion people trying to get into this position, only one person can give the say so, only one person at a time can get approved. It's like it seemed fucking absolutely goddamn impossible. But now it seems very possible. It's like shit, like, you know, if it's not the top 5 biggest streaming platforms, you could go to one of the small fucking 5 streaming platforms, you know? You could start from one of the lesser ones, and it's just like, they still need content. They still are buying movies. It's just like, this has never happened before. When I was a kid, you couldn't just like make a movie and fucking Netflix would buy it, you know? It's like, you can make a movie and then no one would ever buy it or touch it ever. You could try to pitch it to like a Miramax, but Miramax is like, fuck you, bro. Like, we have, you know, we have the world's A-list stars. You can go to fucking some independent one, but they're gonna say no. So it's just, this has never happened before. I think that this is the most open that filmmaking has ever been in the history of time, ever. And it's a very good thing, because on another note, like, censorship is real, right? And what's the deal with that then? Well, if all of media is only controlled by one thing, previously the MPAA, you know, you could have a lot of censorship if only the studios can give the say so, right? It's like, sure, you can fucking make an independent movie, like there are indie movies, but a normal person's not gonna come across it. Like, before, it would have to be a studio release, it would have to be in theaters, it would have to be marketed, TV ads, the whole fucking shebang. If someone's gonna see your movie, you needed the whole thing before. But now it's like, you know, fucking, you know, just like do some Instagram marketing, post it for free, like, or just have it bought by one of these streaming platforms. This is crazy shit. This has never fucking been anything like this, ever, anything close. So I am very excited to see all this and see this unfold before our eyes. And then COVID hit, and now the big studios can't do anything because, you know, you have to follow COVID precautions. So now they have to work at the level of amateurs. Now they have to be like, okay, only a few people in the room. Maybe the script only has one fucking character. Like, literally, they're going back to amateur level shit because that's the restrictions. So anyone that is an amateur is like, shit, I can fucking follow COVID precaution. I'm only one person, you know? I don't even need 20 people in this room. I don't know how to do that. I only know how to do this with one person. So I think that's fascinating stuff. And for me, it's like, I gotta start working on these scripts because there's actually a possibility of it now. Like before, you could say, "Oh, I'm gonna write a script and try to sell it," but shit, I mean, you'd have to really fucking try. You'd really have to get out there before. But I think now, I think this is more of a market. I think you have something good. I think there's a possibility. So I'm gonna work on writing more. That's one thing fucking. That's definitely a thing I gotta work on. But yeah, definitely work on this writing. Maybe even try to fucking get some shit going. But that's just on another note. That's just on some shit. Overall, I think movies are gonna be very interesting. And recently, I also watched this movie called Overnight. Very interesting because this is about the guy that made Boondock Saints, which is a huge classic. I used to have that poster up in my room with, Norman Reedus, and that's badass. It's not even like that great of a movie, but just as a kid, like it was badass. Like it was always a badass movie, and mostly the poster. Honestly, like the poster was always badass. It was always iconic, and I never knew the story of this guy because he only made fucking Boondock Saints. He never made anything else. So this movie came out in 2003 called Overnight, and it's a documentary on the guy. And the guy, he's pretty arrogant. He's kind of a shitbag, and he just kind of fucked up all of the opportunity given to him. And it was fascinating me watching it because I'm like, oh wow, right. I'm glad I actually wasn't given an opportunity like this because I had to definitely learn from mistakes before I would be able to fucking do anything like that. Because he got the chance. He got the overnight fucking success story. Like, it never happens with anyone, but he had the script. He was just a bartender. And, fucking Harvey Weinstein walks in and talks to him in the bar. Harvey Weinstein says, I'm gonna give you literally, like, millions of dollars. I'm gonna buy this bar and give it to you as a gift. Like, I'm gonna buy this script. We're gonna do it full production. We're gonna do it whatever, the whole fucking 9 yards. We're gonna do it huge. All this shit. So it's a double-sided story because the filmmaker was an asshole. He did fuck up a lot of stuff. This Troy Duffy guy, but it also shows how fucked Harvey Weinstein is. Because we heard the stories with the Me Too movement and stuff, but not just that. He was fucking over guys too. He was fucking over everyone, not even just on like asking for favors and stuff and like, doing the whole casting couch thing. Harvey Weinstein was also just like snatching up talent and basically just keeping them locked into Miramax. He basically just taking these guys off the street and being like, all right, I'm never going to talk to you again, but you're locked in contracts. Like, we basically own all of the creative of California. And so that's how much of a hold he had. Like, apparently all of production, all of Los Angeles from the 90s through the 2000s, it's like all this motherfucker. Like, Harvey has the final say in this Hollywood world. So that was really fucked, like, in a lot of aspects. And it's cool seeing this other side, like someone personally getting fucked by him and seeing this play out over a few years on this documentary. So yeah, Overnight, that's an interesting one. But that just came to mind with the like Harvey stuff and like all this studios and all this shit. So I think we're in a completely different boat now. Because when he was saying that would be the only way to make a movie. It's like, it's cool. Like, of course, it's still cool to get, like, there's still this happening and big studio deals and shit. But, like, it's not the only way. Like, there's a lot of ways to get a movie made. Even if it's, and there's a lot of movies that are never fucking seen, right? Like, but what blows my mind is even these movies that I've never fucking heard of, that have never been seen by anyone, they still found funding. They still found someone to pay for the whole thing. But, it's, all this stuff's double-edged, shit. Because if you take in a lot of funding, like, maybe there's someone that just funds it and, like, they just take the L on it. But I'm pretty sure most people, if they're gonna give you, like, $1 million, they're gonna want it back. So it's a lot of pressure. Like, even if you could find someone to fund your movie, it's a lot of fucking pressure to actually, like, deliver and, like, make it back on it. So All this stuff's fascinating to me because like that still seems so far away from me to even get funding on something. But a lot of people talk about that, and it's just crazy because first off, that is a huge hurdle to even get the funding. But then after you get it, it's like shit. Are you gonna be able to pay the motherfucker back? Are you gonna be able to actually like do the shit? So movies are fascinating because it is this art, and we get to enjoy the art of it. But to actually get it done, it's like, oh, that's a lot of fucking business. That's a lot of finessing, relationships, managing shit, like, fucking first impressions, all of that. It's like, it's a lot of that shit. It's a lot of that money. It's a lot of getting that money, a lot of returning that money back to them after. Yeah. So, just, no, funny stuff. I am coming to a wrap here just because I have to really fucking pee. So, that's that. Like, I would keep talking, but it's good to wrap too. I don't actually know how long this is recording. I kind of like doing this. Like, I've no monitor or anything or like clock or anything. It's pretty chill. Keeps it very that out of the way, like out of the fucking whatever in the loops. And I hope you enjoy watching this shit. I may even start releasing these older podcasts, but I just wanted to have a completely uncut, like 100% uncut, straight to through to the finish one to kind of come back, and we are back. Inane bullshit. I gotta decide with this too. It's like a lot of times with this shit, I really just gotta make a decision and then just fucking go with it. But I haven't decided if I'm gonna actually title it Inane Bullshit on YouTube because I've had problems with that. But I also see other people, like there's other podcasts just with the name shit in it. So I think I'll just keep going with the Inane Bullshit because on the audio platforms it's called Stoned Alone, which works with me because I'll like audio only. I can post more than just Inane Bullshit too. I'll just post like random audio, but so yeah, stay tuned to that. We got the audio platforms, fucking Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher. I don't know anyone that's actually used Stitcher, but it's and then mainly on the Anchor. It goes into Anchor, then to the others. I already said Spotify. That's all you need to know. Spotify, Apple, Google, you will be able to find this audio experience under Stoned Alone. Hopefully. I should double check on that shit. But yes, that is the way it should be. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. I had a good time, and I really have to pee. I'm even like I want to stay. Like I'm even trying to stay and like keep chatting, but I fucking have to pee so bad. So I'll see you around in the next time. Again, sponsor was Go Ganjberry. I don't even have to say that again. We already had this segment on it, but I do appreciate that with them, and we'll probably be doing some more stuff with that because, again, it's not all about the money. Like I really am just like I do really enjoy making this and just talking and chilling. But this is the year trying to stack the bread, so gonna be doing more sponsorships and stuff. But I will try to make it not boring. I definitely hate ads like anyone else, and I think there is a way to do it where everyone can be happy. So that's what I will try out. But seriously, appreciate you. Again, like I just talked about Star Wars during this, and I also recommend the movies Overnight and Hodorowski's Dune. With that being said, I am signing off. So appreciate you. I gotta take a blinker before I go, right? Gotta do that. This one doesn't blink, it just the light cycle stops, but same thing. And then I gotta figure out how to pick up after this, cause hopefully I'll be able to go to a sesh. These dispensaries are crazy expensive. All right. Appreciate the fuck out of you. Last plug, I swear. Stone.social. I'm serious. That's it. No .com or anything. Just go in your browser, stoned.social. Look at these. This is all of them right now. So the first batch, I just made 6 of each, and they're right here. I'm sending these out personally. I'm writing a note with them individually. The big ones will have goji berries and a scrape card. Actually, something personal too. Like one of them, I'm throwing in an actual Polaroid. And like one, like a fucking, like bus pass from Denver, and this one in Joshua Tree. So I am literally sending these out, hand sent with my hands. And so check this out. I would appreciate that. And that's the shit, right? Like like this Foley merch. This is like totally third party. Someone else is creating these. It's from this thing here. And then these are really like one of a kind personal. This is from Ohio. One guy makes these from leather, laser engraves them, and you can actually see they are one of a kind. Like they're actually like the actual leather of it is different. So I think that's why I'm trying to plug this one so hard, because this is the first drop. I don't even know if the next ones after I'll be able to write notes with every single one, but like if you want that, if you want to support Stoned Alone, you want a fucking handwritten note, anything like that, definitely hit up the trays, and you can actually just DM me for this as well. So appreciate that. I'm gonna see you around. Peace. Bye.